Today's video is a technique deep dive into velveting meat. Now, velveting meat is a technique used in Chinese cooking to help our meat stay juicy, moist and tender even after cooking. Hey guys, my name is Ted. I love Asian food and my goal is to teach you the systems and frameworks on how you can get great Asian food at home. When it comes to velveting your meat, there are actually 3 ways to do this, and my goal in today's video is to teach you each of the 3 methods, a breakdown how you can approach them as well as their pros and cons. Now take note that even though we're using beef in the demonstrations today, you can also use these techniques for chicken and pork as well. So without wasting any time, let's look at method number 1, which is the most convenient method that we can use at home. This method works by simply adding your baking soda and your marinade to your meat directly. So here's my formula. For every half a pound of meat, add no more than a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, and to get a nice silky coat around your meat, add 2 teaspoons worth of cornstarch. And this works because the baking soda will raise the overall pH level of the meat, which breaks down the surface proteins and causes the muscle fibers to repel each other, preventing them from tightening and turning tough during cooking. However, the problem with baking soda is that it can leave a harsh metallic taste if you use too much of it. Therefore, we have to be careful with the amount of baking soda we use. And oh yeah, don't forget to add any other seasonings that you like to use, such as soy sauce, oyster sauce, or Chinese cooking wine. If you want to make sure that your meat doesn't stick together, you can also add a little bit of cooking oil. Now give everything a good mix and leave this for about 30 minutes before you cook it. Technically speaking, the velveting process is only complete with the second step of cooking it, which is what helps to set in the silky glossy texture. Restaurants will typically use oil poaching or water poaching, but for the home cook, the most convenient method is to just pan sear this in a hot wok. In fact, this is the method you'll see in most online recipes. So no matter which of the 3 velveting methods you use, feel free to use any of the finishing methods as well. So to sear your meat, just heat up a wok and add a little bit of cooking oil and then just fry this for about a minute. Now the trick is you don't want to overcook your meat because we're going to cook it once more in the wok with the rest of the ingredients later on. So once your meat looks partially cooked and it has a nice glossy seal over it, you can take it out of the wok and set it aside until you're ready to use it for your stir fry. Now because the whole point of velveting your meat is to have nice tender bites at the end of the day, it behooves me to also share with you about the proper technique behind slicing your meat. Now when it comes to slicing your meat, you must always make sure you slice against the grain. This will really help to make the beef tender and fall apart in your mouth. So just take a look at how the muscle fibers are running across your meat. If you can't really tell, just give it a gentle pull and you should see them quite clearly. And when you're cutting, you just want to make sure that you cut across each of the muscle fibers. It's really straightforward. Here's a look at the same piece of steak from different angles. When you look at it lengthwise, you can see the muscle fibers running across, but when you look at it from the cross section, you can actually see the individual muscle fibers. So when you're slicing across the grain, you're basically slicing across each muscle fiber. So when done right, each slice of meat should look just like the cross section. By doing so, it'll be a lot easier for each slice of meat to fall apart in your mouth for that nice tender feel. Thickness wise, you want each slice to be about half a centimeter thick. And with that, your meat is ready for velveting. Now, let's take a look at method number 2, which is the best way to get your meat super tender. Because we're using a larger amount of baking soda and we're washing it away, this method is great if you're using a tougher cut of meat or if you're just worried about using too much baking soda in the first method. So here's the formula. For every half a pound of meat, add half a teaspoon of baking soda and about 2 tablespoons of water. We'll leave this for 15 to 30 minutes to let the baking soda work its magic, and then we'll rinse it all away. As for the cornstarch, we'll only add this after the rinse. Now it's been 30 minutes and as you can see, the meat is a lot plumper than before, and that's because the baking soda has started to help the meat relax and absorb some of the water that we added to it. Now let's get to the sink and rinse this off. I like to do this about 2 to 3 times until the water runs clean, and then I'll squeeze out all the excess water. And you can actually squeeze out quite a bit of water. Now, this is an important step because by squeezing out the excess water, the meat can actually absorb more of the marinade that we will be adding later on. And to get the meat really dry, here's my next tip. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dry our beef as much as we can with some kitchen paper before we add our seasonings and marinades. And once the meat is dry, you can actually leave this in the fridge for up to a day and to use it when you're ready. So now you can go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch as well as all the other seasonings that you would like to use. Now the beef is ready for cooking. If you actually want to use this method, but the recipe that you're following is telling you to add baking soda to the marinade, then all you have to do is do what we just did, but leave baking soda out of the marinade because the idea is we've already treated the beef and we don't want to add too much baking soda because it can impart a harsh metallic taste. And as before, don't forget to cook your meat before you use it in the stir fry. Do not skip this step. Now let's take a look at technique number 3, which is the most traditional way to do it. For technique number 3, we'll be using an egg. Now when it comes to the egg velveting technique, we're only going to be using our egg whites and not the egg yolks. This is because egg whites are naturally alkaline in nature. So just like baking soda, you can increase increase the overall pH levels of a meat when you add it to it, which in turn helps to make the meat tender. But when it comes to your yolk, it's actually acidic in nature, so if you added it to your egg whites, it will actually neutralize each other out. And when it happens, you lose the alkaline properties that can help your meat stay tender. So crack your egg and separate the eggs from the yolk. Just pass the egg yolks gently between the shells and keep the yolk in a separate bowl. Of course, you don't have to throw your egg yolks away. You can always use this in an egg fried rice or use this in an omelette. So for this technique, the recipe is for every half a pound of meat, I'll add about 1 tablespoon of egg whites and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Now, since egg whites are a lot gentler than baking soda, if you want, you can actually increase the amount of egg whites you use. And of course, you can add any other seasonings as part of the marinade. Leave this for about half an hour as you let the egg whites work its magic before you par cook your meat. So here's a quick recap on the 3 methods that we just covered. If you're looking for convenience and speed, use method number 1. If, however, you want your meat to be super tender and you're okay with the extra steps, then use method number 2. If you want a traditional route and you want the silkiest mouthfeel, then go for method number 3. Now we just done a crash course on velveting our meats. Now you have everything you need to know to run forward and cook amazing Asian food.